the secretaries, other dignitaries, the media. We want to thank you for having me here today. I am batting number 11, but being a West Indian, whether I bat 11 or 1, the runs wouldn't make a difference anyway. Eh? Give me my flip chart across there. You got way rough me up, sir. Right. Well, I think to write on the flip chart. Now, I sent for that flip chart because I wanted everybody to see what is happening in between Tobago and Trinidad, or between Tobago and Trinidad and Tobago. Now, I want to make my opening statement. I want to give my presentation without Dr. Mark doing me so. So that means I have to do so. Now, Dr. Farrell mentioned earlier about the laws of the sea. And I want to make a bold statement that for Tobago to succeed at becoming an autonomous island or becoming an intelligent island, we first have to do what his brothers say, trying to know what we don't know. Because what is not well known in Tobago is that Tobago goes down every year to Trinidad to beg for its own money. And I'll tell you why I say that. Right? Let me just read a statement for you here. When Dr. Farrell talked about the laws of the seas, I have the document here. United Nations Convention on the Laws of the Sea, which has been acceded to by Trinidad and Tobago, and we have put it into legislation. No, so, Dr. Farrell, you're not only an economist, you're now a lawyer, so put your head in this, right? It starts by saying, now, there are two sets of states recognized under the laws of the sea. You're either a coastal state or you're an archipelagic state. Now, every country wants to be an archipelagic state. Barbados have put a set of tire down in the sea, just trying to get a reef to become an archipelagic state. The reason being, I'll show you why. It says here an archipelagic state may draw a straight baseline from its two outermost reef. So let me go to my little flip chart.
Wait. Princess, go and get you. Go and get your mic.
Yeah, let me get the mic. Simple. Tobago has an elongated shape while Trinidad has more of a box shape. Here is Little Tobago. Sorry, here is Little Tobago at the outermost dry reef in Tobago, and here is the outermost dry reef in Trinidad. Now the law requires that these two reefs must be within 100 nautical miles, Article 47 of the Convention of each other, and you draw what you call a straight baseline here. Right? Now from this baseline, this is your national waters. And here, extending your first 24, you get your first zone, and you go 200 miles here, from here to get your EEZ. Now, all our marine resources, this water here, you call it territorial water of Trinidad and Tobago. And over here you have the territorial airspace. Further on there, you have what you call your continental shelf, where you can extract marine resources. Interestingly, Trinidad does not have a continental shelf. Tobago gets its continental shelf coming off of Venezuela here. So whatever resources. Now, all our marine resources is within this zone here, which you call your territorial waters, right? None of it is outside of that. If it's outside of that, Barbados could win in court because we would have run into, because we have to share that. No. All the marine resources in this zone belong to who? It belong to Trinidad and Tobago, because the Constitution says the island of Trinidad and the island of Tobago form a sovereign democratic state. And what the laws of the sea saying, the reef of Tobago and the reef of Trinidad determines the extent of our territorial water. This notwithstanding, there is one island who gets the bulk of the funds from the territorial waters of Trinidad and Tobago, and the other one has to go down and beg for its own money. So I am saying, until such time that Tobago, in seeking its autonomy, understands that it is not a tourism economy, but it is basically a hydrocarbon economy, we are going to have a problem of understanding the economic well-being of Tobago. When I listen, the first time I studied this thing is on the basis of Dr. Mark. We were having a committee, and our laws of the sea man dropped out and said, you have to do one. You have to do one. So I started studying the laws of the sea. When I discussed this with Sir Ernest Clark came to the conclusion, he said the issue of autonomy of Tobago is not a battle between Trinidad and Tobago, but a battle between Tobago and Trinidad and Tobago. Because you see, Tobago is trying to get some little bit of money, what, 5% and 2% and 3% of a budget, when its contribution for the hydrocarbon marine resources is 50%. Because, let me tell you why it's 50%. The other thing recognized by the laws that we are called a coastal state. And if these two did not form an archipelagic state, there would have been two separate coastal states. And the marine resources will begin at the way we call the low water mark, quite in here. For Trinidad, for Tobago, quite in here for Tobago. So outside of it, they could not touch 1 ounce of the marine resources that are available to them now in the EEZ. So that is my first contention with the question of an intelligent island, is knowing what you have. Call it the Trevor Farrell syndrome. So we have to decide. George Bush said it, you know. He said, listen, if you don't know that you don't know, you're in trouble. Right? So I'm saying to the politicians at Tobago, Secretary Jack, you're involved in finance, you're any politicians at Trinidad and Tobago, your basis for negotiation with Trinidad has to change fundamentally. Right? Now, I told Dr. Farrell after he gave his presentation, I said, patent that. Now, Dr. King, until he fired me in the authority, right? Has been my guru. You know, I heard his cry, but what he did. You know, I recalled when Dr. King and they were opening the market, they brought a firm from Washington. And the firm from Washington, their role was to calculate a reference price. So the firm told us, look, we had, I think the price to calculate the reference price was $50,000 US. The firm said, I can't calculate that because you all had three bidders and it's down to 2. Now, that is almost an improbable task to calculate that. So she said, well, you ought to pay us more because they're improbable tasks. Dr. Henry was chairman at the time. He said, Prince, you calculate that. The firm said, you can't calculate that. And I am betting you two of the finest bottles of champagne that we wouldn't sell none of those Spectrum. The night when it was calculated, we drank 2 bottles of champagne the night. Dr. Ken, they fired me after that. Right? So I want to move on quickly, Dr. Mark, into what are the basic characteristics that we have to look for in Tobago to get this intelligent economy going. And a lot of it, why I wouldn't detain you, because a lot of what was already said by Dr. King and Dr. Farrell. One, if you're going to create an intelligent economy is based on being able to innovate. You can't create an intelligent economy by not innovating. And I go to the Asian economies. One of the things you can do with telemedicine is early detection of disability and things. Now, what we are rolling up, you know, number 11, people don't bat now. But I must say, we have a system in Tobago. Now, we have been trying to put a little technology in Tobago, and we have technology that Trinidad have. We have a technology we call 211. And we're trying to institute it in Trinidad just because it didn't start there. You're getting all kinds of trouble. You could call the number 211 and get a lot of information. When the boat sailing, if we have what they call it, when this is, when that. We also institute a measure where you call Media Alert. You have a lot of old people who live alone in Tobago. Now they have a little system where they could press, they get a medicine, they get what have you not, and that kind of help. So I'm saying here, while we way behind in establishing an intelligent island, I am seeing from the current THA that there is intent, right? Because we start a little system. So from today's what? Today's Thursday? Secretary Jack, from Monday morning, you see all these IT people, you have one in this division, one in that division, one in the other division, one in the division. Send them all down to the Innovation Center because they are of little use to independently to each division. I just want to thank you all for having me and telling the THA whatever help we can get, you'll get it from us. Thank you very much.
Listening to all the talk this morning and this afternoon about innovation, and I believe one of the speakers mentioned breaking the arms and the legs to try to get things to fit. And I have had the fortunate position of being the Deputy Chief Examiner for the MET, which is Mechanical Engineering Technicians at CXC. And the failure rate throughout the region is quite phenomenal. And what I've been looking at over the last 5+ years is the fact that we say we want to innovate, we say we want to create this type of knowledgeable society, but our education system continues to fail us. We take our brightest and best and put them in academic streams, when if you look at developed countries, they take their brightest and best and you give them tech voc, and you allow them to start to innovate from youth. So when they get into university, they then catapult from there and use the technology. But we, due to our culture, we continue to, should I say, run away from what we call the plantation culture. Because if you put a bright guy to weld, he would not be a doctor, he would not be a lawyer. And that is killing us. So I would like to know from you if this is a fair assessment. If it is not, how do you think the primary, secondary school could facilitate this innovative culture?
No answer, Brian. You want to answer him or you just commented?
University man.
And one of my favorite subjects in Kurasi was woodwork. And as a kid, I fixed everything on the street. Right? So this is why I was very happy when they built the senior comprehensives, which also had craft in it, etc., and there was sort of a mix. In fact, we tried to do it at the university, where all the first years were coming in were supposed to go into the sort of workshop and make something, or to fight something, or to cut something, or in fact, sort of whatever. So I mean, I think you're right that our normal youngster growing up, even in my day, wasn't fixing things or making things, unless, of course, he went to learn to be a mechanic or in fact, whatever. But as long as he was bright and he was going to do his HSC or his advanced levels, he didn't do those kind of things. So therefore, I think you're right that the schools should also offer this kind of this kind of opportunity. But let me tell you, it has its disadvantages, because when you get married, then you end up fixing everything in the house.
Well, if I may just chip in there, I think our education system in this country is broken.
Of course,
it's one of the many institutions in our society which is broken, and in typical Trinidadian and West Indian style, we are faking it. Meaning that we actually adhere to one standard while we publicly proclaim another. The standard that we actually adhere to is the old island scholarship system.
That's right.
That's what we adhere to. So that from starting in primary school, in infants,
To win as gold.
the objective is about producing scholarship winners at the end of the day. So the child who gets into standard 1, who is supposed to be able to read, if that child cannot read in standard 1, the system forgets about you. And you progress that way through SEA. When the SEA results come out, we publish the pictures of the first 200 top students and all who get 98.95 and 98.93%. And there are a large number of students in the thousands who are making less than 50% and some who are making less than 30%. We are not concerned about them and where they go. The system has generated universal access, which means that every child is placed. The SEA is a placement exam. The SEA is not an exam about people assessing performance and about remediating performance. It's about placing students and placing students in particular schools that can win the horse race. And it is a horse race. So that Sinclair went to Kurasi, I went to St. Mary's, those who go to Bishops, and it is about a horse race. Convent. You are those who go to convent, to Bishop. It's a horse race, and you're breeding thoroughbreds, and you're breeding the thoroughbreds to see how many scholarships my school is going to get. And at the end of the day, when the CAPE results come out, whether those CAPE results are valid or they're not valid in terms of the scholarships, and that's another issue, right? A separate issue. It is about, so then people say, well, I want my child to go to Bishops. I want my child to go to St. Mary's. Not St. Mary's anymore, to go to Hillview, because that is the school where the child is more likely to succeed. But we forget about the fact that the large majority of the students are failing the sets of exams that we set for them. So that's one problem. The second problem is that education, now that we have dealt with the problem of access, so that everybody has access, we are now sufficiently wealthy as a society, I'm saying, for us to say, right, we have access, now let us focus on the child. Because every child who comes into a school is different. Every child who comes into a school has different aptitudes, different abilities. Not all children are cut out to be doctors or to be lawyers. And when we force them to become doctors, they end up being bad doctors that end up in the Mount Hope Hospital and end up causing problems to mothers and children. Right? And when they become lawyers, they become crooks, right? Because they are not good lawyers. What we have to do in our education system, we are sufficiently resourced as a society, is that in my view, we now have to focus on the individual child. Our system must now be organized around that child, asking what is this child's aptitude. If the child has an aptitude for woodworking, for whatever it is and so on, we should nurture and encourage that. Children who have an aptitude for music, children who have an aptitude for dance, our system destroys them, completely destroys them. And that is the change, and that is the revolution that now needs to take place in terms of our education system. And I hope, quite frankly, that this administration gets it. And I hope that this administration now begins to make the changes that are needed to be making from the ground up in terms of making those changes.
Fine.
Just to add some information to what Dr. Farrell just said, and I believe I heard it on I-95.5, this year the top student in the CAPE exam in computer science is from Trinidad and Tobago and from math. The top student in the Caribbean in the exams were from Trinidad and Tobago.
Each year they have something at this hotel and different hotels where we all attend. And it is so, I don't know what word to use. Ms. Mackenzie, can you help me? Because I think you are one of the people who encouraged me into this deal. We come here, listen to everything we have to say. They call us small business, large business, and as the last speaker just said, don't take the man with the little children what they cannot do. When we are doing these businesses, why do the people come here and encourage us to do the business? And when everything is over with this talk here today and tomorrow and whenever, when we go to the office, you put the tailor man to come to see about a businesswoman. I am going to put it that way. If you all do not understand, I'm going to put it more boldly now. You go to the offices of the business people, you ask them questions to get along and to get somewhere. The question is, I am going to help you, I'm going to look into it, and the eyes cannot see, the specialists are there. Please do something to help the small business people. This is not a business helper. This reality here today, I don't think we have anything to achieve from it. Right? Get in these talks, and when we go to Mr. Jack and whoever offices in Tobago, the only thing we can get, we are going to help you time to do. I don't want that help. I mean, the business I'm getting old, I want to be more business G now. Something should be done. Don't put a tailor to be a cook. Thank you.
David.
I don't understand what you say. I don't understand what you say.
Anyway, they need to talk. Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
I've just been assigned a task by the secretary to moderate this session because apparently they're lacking some organization at the moment. So yes, can we have your question?
Yes, thanks. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is David Ramjohn. Once again, I'm representing the American Chamber of Commerce. Just two questions. One specifically